Hello everybody, my name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic, and on this channel it's my job to point you in the direction of movies worth checking out. So if that interests you, definitely hit like and subscribe, and today I'm here to tell you if Jumanji The Next Level is worth a watch. Now I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I have no notes for this review. I saw it last night, and this is just my quick, honest impressions because, to be honest with you guys, I don't have much to say about this movie because the main question is this: is it still worth a watch? I'm going to say no. You know, and again, I don't hate this movie, right? I saw this movie with my sister last night, and she enjoyed the first one, the first rock one, just like I did, and she really enjoyed this movie too. So it's, again, if you enjoyed the first one, you'll probably like this one too. But she's not as critical as I am with other movies. So for me, I thought this movie was just okay. Now, I've talked a lot about sequels on this channel. You know, I've reviewed sequels that have come out this year, like Zombieland Double Tap, and I've also reviewed sequels to really high praised movies like The Terminator and Star Wars, right? I reviewed Terminator 2 and Empire Strikes Back, and what I talk about in those reviews is how those sequels push the story forward, introduce new things, new ideas, and they don't feel like the first movie done over again. I get it, in Terminator 2, there's a lot of similarities, but it pushes the characters forward, it pushes the story forward, it pushes the emotion and the messages into a new direction. But then there are some sequels where you're like, yeah, I've seen this movie already. And Jumanji The Next Level feels like that. But my biggest two problems with the movie are the story structure in terms of its characters and the comedy. Now, in the first Jumanji movie, you obviously have Spencer, you have Fridge, you have Martha, you have Bethany, and they all start the movie off in a certain place, right? Bethany has problems with, she's super self-centered and she's super rude and she has like this really big ego. Martha is really shy and insecure. And then Spencer and Fridge have their friendship problems, right? They set that up at the beginning of the movie. Then throughout the entire movie, through the Jumanji action adventure stuff, you learn more about the characters and they start to figure out their differences and they work through their problems. And then at the end of the movie, all of their problems are resolved, right? Setup, conflict, payoff, right? So in this movie, we have Spencer, right? And he's off in college in New York City, and he's living a pretty shitty life. He's like, I'm going to college. I'm always like, I feel so lost in this big city. I work at some like convenience store. Like, I was Dr. Bravestone, right? I was super awesome. I was going on in this amazing adventure. I met all these new people. I wish I could go back to that. And that, you know what? That's a perfectly legitimate thing, right? This character wishes that he was more than what he was. That's a great way to start a movie. So that's what was set up in the beginning. Then you set up Spencer's grandfather and his best friend. And apparently they owned some restaurant back in the past, but you really learn about that for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then the Jumanji stuff happens. So you'd think that the entire movie would be about Spencer and him trying to overcome his insecurity about just not feeling good enough. Like, I was this, I should feel like this, but it's not though. The movie is more about the conflict between the two older people in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart. And it was funny at first. And I'll talk about the comedy here. I'll just splice it in. The whole shtick of characters going into these avatars, we've seen it done in the first movie. And now you just see a little bit of a different iteration of it. Obviously, Ruby Roundhouse, Karen Gillan is the same, right? She's still Martha. Then you have Jack Black. He plays Fridge. And when he was like this, this jock dude, it is hot out here, man. God damn it. Like, I was thinking, is this going to get like a little, I don't want to go there, but I thought it was okay. As a white person, I don't want to, again, I thought it was okay. And I thought it was funny for 2 minutes because it got old. Just like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart playing much older people. Kevin Hart, I think, was probably the funniest person in this movie. But again, it's the same shtick, right? Other people going into these bodies, which are definitely not like their real life counterparts. It's like saying, why did the chicken cross the highway to get to the other side? In theory, it's a different joke, but at its core, it's the same joke, if you know what I mean. And yes, it was funny for the first 5 minutes, but it got old. No pun intended. But you have the entire movie focusing on the conflict between these two characters, but their setup was only 2 minutes in the beginning of the movie, where most of the beginning of the movie was Spencer's story, and then you obviously meet him, but then Spencer's payoff is about 1 or 2 minutes. So it just feels like kind of reversed. You have all the setup for one character with very little payoff, but then you have little setup for these other characters, all the conflict is with them, and they have this huge payoff, but their setup was so small. So it feels really disjointed. So not only is that disjointed, the comedy gets old very, very fast. And you know, it's funny, I think the movie even figured that out, because you do see in the trailer that Bethany does go back to Jack Black's body. It's like, oh yes, we have to do the exact same thing like we did in the first one. And you know what? The action scenes, they're exciting. It looks great. Yes, you know, Karen Gillan was really good in this movie. She has a really strong screen presence, and I want to see her in more things. And you know, these actors together, they do work, but I've seen this movie already. And it goes through the exact same thing. It's like, okay, welcome to Jumanji. And because, you know, these old people don't know that they're in a video game, Karen Gillan just has to explain, oh, this is a video game. This is a cutscene. But we as an audience know that already. And I get it. You got to explain some new things for the new viewers. But as a returning viewer, I know this stuff already. So it just feels very recycled. And then walking out of the theater, I'm like, I've seen this movie already. It was called Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, but that movie was funny and unexpected because we haven't seen that shtick of these 4 characters going into these 4 bodies before. And yes, there are somewhat different characters going into the same bodies, but again, it's the same joke, but with a little different coat of paint on it. But the movie isn't terrible, right? I don't want to come across as I'm shitting on this movie. I'm just saying that it didn't entertain me nearly as much as I was entertained in the first Jumanji movie. For that, I'm going to give Jumanji: The Next Level a 2 out of 5. I wasn't expecting to love this movie. I wasn't expecting to go into this movie and just have my mind blown. But I wanted to be entertained. And I was in parts. But I feel like I've seen this movie already. So when walking out of the theater, I thought, you know what, I really didn't need to see that. Anyways, guys, tell me down in the comment section down below, what is your least favorite sequel? Or what's a movie that you liked the first one, and then you saw the second one, and you're like, I've seen this movie already, but the first one was better. Men in Black is the one that pops into my head. Whatever your answer is, let me know down in the comment section down below, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.